Well, governors from across the country are gathering in Colorado Springs today for the National Governors Association's summer meeting. The two-day event will include bipartisan discussions between several top Democrats and Republicans, including some eyeing a 2028 White House run. CBS News political reporter Hunter Woodall joins us now from Colorado Springs. Hunter, good morning. So tell us who's set to speak today, and what does this conference show us about governors in the Trump era?
Well, this marks a very interesting moment for governors across the country. This conference is going to feature at least, it sounds like, two members of the Trump administration, the HHS Secretary and the Secretary of Education. But at the same time, as Democrats find themselves locked out of power in Washington, it's Democratic governors that are tending to have the ability to push back the most against the Trump administration. This event is normally very bipartisan. But given that Democrats, these governors across the country have this power, there's always a little bit of tension there between Republicans, Democrats, and the Trump administration at this moment.
Now, Hunter, there's been some tension about this group on the Democratic side. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I was speaking to I've been in contact with a source familiar with Democratic governors' thinking, and this source indicated to me that there's a clear concern about the National Governors Association not pushing back on this what they view as federal overreach, this source indicated to me. And that's something that this source thought governors should be agreeing on in this moment. And that there is always that tension with the Trump administration and governors. I mean, this happened during President Trump's first term during the COVID-19 pandemic. That back and forth between what, states' ability versus what the federal government can do. And Democratic governors in this moment, especially those who may run for president in 2028, there's clearly that concern, that pushback, and it keeps building the farther and farther we get into President Trump's second term.
And speaking of 2028, what implications does this conference have for upcoming elections?
You'll find, governors, when I speak to their staffs, when I speak to the governors themselves, they tend to want to be very bipartisan. They tend to want to, really focus on their states, more or less, obviously with some exceptions on that bipartisanship angle. But when you get to a conference like this and you get closer and closer to elections, you have Democratic voters who clearly are saying they want their candidates to push back strongly against the Trump administration. Like I said, Democratic governors are the ones that can push back the most. In this moment, where we have so many Democrats that could potentially run for president in 2028 and potentially Republican governors as well, how they handle this part of the Trump administration, this era, I believe will be closely watched by voters across the country.
All right, Hunter Woodall, thanks so much for joining us.